Hi everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on how to start your own high school newspaper. I'm very excited to be conducting and guiding you through this today. But before we dive straight in, I would like to share a bit about myself and my experience. So let's get started. So my name is Yukta Matai and I'm currently an intern with Millie. I'm the content intern and my tasks include conducting panels, writing newsletters, researching, and so much more. So I've had past experience working at a national newspaper company here in Oman called Muscat Daily and content creation for my school newsletter. I love writing and reading and I want to pursue media or marketing in the future. So today we will be covering all the nitty-gritty of the process of starting a high school newspaper. But first we will discuss the benefits of starting a newspaper at your high school. And then for a bit of context, I will share my experience interning with a newspaper company and the process of producing a school newsletter, which is pretty similar to that of a newspaper. Finally, at the end, we will discuss how to start your own newspaper. So let's get started. So what could the benefits be of starting your own paper? So there's countless benefits of beginning your own school newspaper, even if you aren't planning to pursue a degree in journalism, communications, or media. It shows to the admissions officers all the soft skills required to publish it, including leadership, time management, communication, overall writing style, and quality of work. It helps build your portfolio and enhances your college applications. It also raises awareness about issues and develops a sense of community because it's tailored towards the audience of students, staff, and parents reading it, thus providing student perspective and voicing students and empowering them. So here's my experience at a newspaper company. I worked for over a period of 2 weeks with Muscat Daily newspaper here in Oman during my summer, and my daily schedule was attending the office between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., weekends excluded. One thing I have noticed is that print media often begin their day much later than most professions since the deadlines for submitting the newspaper entry is super late at night, like 11 p.m. And I had an awesome experience and I learned a lot of new skills and media terminology throughout my experience. I got the opportunity to do hands-on work and even wrote my own articles, which were published in the newspaper. I had the opportunity to network with the industry professionals and gained a lot of useful insights or concerns and opportunities within the industry. So, what sort of task does this involve? My role was predominantly that of a reporter and a writer. I was on the field during my experience interviewing locals and asking questions, taking notes and pictures for the papers. Then I came back to the office and wrote all my research, editing it along the way before submitting it to the head editor, who then made any corrections and showed me what to improve for the next time. So I got to read a lot of newspapers during my internship and I was involved in the ideation process because I'm a teenager and many teens don't read newspapers, so we brainstorm ideas to include articles that would engage the teenage perspective. So what useful skills did I learn? For one, for one of my articles, it was centric to veganism rising in the country. So just for a bit of context, Oman is a country which is pretty meat based and there's a lot of meat eaters. So I had to go and physically meet each manager of the restaurants that cater to the vegan diet, which was at first very nerve-wracking for me personally because they're like so much bigger than I was, and I had to ask the right questions so that they would answer them. And I also learned writing tailored to a certain audience and the trick to making headlines catchy. I discovered that spelling, grammar, and punctuation do not actually matter as much. It's simply about delivering the point with an impact in the shortest words possible. I also learned how to organize information in a newspaper article because the style is quite different than that of a normal essay or academic writing. I also developed my photography skills and interviewing skills. For example, there's a lot of rejection in this industry. So at first, I had to get used to people declining to participate in an interview, but I slowly learned the style of asking the right questions and reassuring them that they will see the final copy before it gets published. This is because quite a few businesses, especially here, are very cautious and wary of getting any news out in the papers, either good or bad. So I think that was a pretty useful skill for me to learn. And then now we go to my experience writing a school newsletter. So my job was just to find out all the interesting things that were happening at the school during that week, and then I would report them on the newsletter. So the deadlines I had, it was like pretty tight deadlines because the moment the content writers are done with their part, the graphic designers have to edit, the photographers have to add the right photos, and then the final step is the media department just looking over all the information and ensuring that everything is visually aesthetic and fit for people to read. So what do I enjoy about it? I enjoy being able to have my own control and freedom over what I choose to put on there and thus take on my own projects because there's a sense of ownership in that because I'm choosing what to cover. It's also an extremely collaborative environment as all the different departments, graphic design, writing, researching, all depend on each other to produce the final product. You can also add it on your university applications because it shows so many of the skills that you use. Um, so how would you start a high school newspaper? So what roles would you need? So some of the main roles for a school newspaper would definitely be having students who are interested in content writing, students who are skilled at interviewing and collecting information, students who can fill the actual contents of the paper, photographers and graphic designers. So it's more roles than that of a newsletter, but it's pretty much the same. And things to think about beforehand. So there's a lot of things to think about, including, in my experience, it's very important to have an organization system or a planner to ensure that all your work is being submitted on time by all the different departments, because deadlines are super crucial in this industry. So before starting out, one must really plan and structure realistically how much time it would take to cover each task before establishing the paper as weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, etc. It's also important to ensure that you have permission from the staff to publish all the information that is in your paper because it contains super school sensitive information and it's tailored to the school community. So, and then you should also check whether it's possible to mass email all the parents or students in school to increase the readers in the community, or you could check with your school for printing budgets and if they'd be willing to print out copies for everyone. But just remember, in my experience, consistency is key. So before establishing your paper as bi-weekly, monthly, you should just make sure that you can achieve that goal. So lastly, how to work well as a team. So teamwork is essential to this process because one person cannot be skilled at each department equally. Thus, specializations help ensure that the best work is being put forward to ensure that your newsletter is at the peak quality. But for a team to work, there has to be clear communication between the group and the commitment from all the different parts and departments for a good quality final product to be produced. Here's the appendix. And if you guys have any questions, you can put them in the chat. But that marks the end of our webinar. So I hope you gained some useful information and I wish you all the best beginning your own school newspaper. If you need any support with university and career guidance, do check out our website and Instagram linked below. Thank you so much for attending. Have a great day.